Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Nash Board of Education Administrative Service and Operations Committee meeting. We have a few things on the agenda we'd like to cover for tonight. So basically, we're going to get started basically with the meetings from the minutes from the last committee meeting. Were there any discussions or concerns regarding that meeting? Hearing none, I need a motion to accept the minutes from the meetings from the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So probably moved in second. All those in favor, sign by aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Awesome. So the first thing we have on the agenda for the 2021 District School Improvement Plan. Ms. Carolina.
Good evening, Administrative Services and Operations Committee. We have in the Assembly platform for you some information about our district and school improvement plans for the 2021-22 school year. So pursuant to Board of Education Policy 3430, Nash County Public School departments have engaged in departmental audits that align with our long-range reviewing data that aligns with our 5 long-range strategic priorities and identify year 2 focus areas to guide our district improvement plan. So just as a reminder, our priorities for the next 5 years, our strategic priorities are to 1, increase grade level proficiency across all grades and subjects. Priority 2 is to increase the number of schools that exceed growth. Priority 3 is to ensure equitable outcomes for all subgroups. Priority 4 is to equitably staff and build capacity across all schools. And priority 5 is efficient and effective operations across district departments. And so our focus areas are continuing from last year. Equity and excellence through highly effective staff, continuous improvement processes, rigorous standards-based instruction, and social and emotional learning. So in addition to the district staff reviewing data within their departments and building out the district improvement plan, schools have also ensured that their school improvement plans were developed to align with these district goals and focus areas. All of our district and school improvement plans this year, as they have been in the past, are in the IndiStar platform. Within the IndiStar platform, and there is a link to it on Assembly as well as a link on our district website. But within the IndiStar platform, there is the capability to have a guest login. And so what we have done this year is included the link to IndiStar and the guest login, which is there on that page. And I am going to log in and show you what that will look like. All right, Jermaine, I've lost it. No, I think it's on a different screen. Are you sharing? Or just pull that up, pull the district page up, please. And go to About Us. And the district Nash 2025 improvement plans. Right underneath the hero nominations. There you go. And scroll down and click that IndiStar. Yep. So when you're in the Industar platform, you would put the guest D2595 into it. That is your username and your password. And you'll log in. And so this is the landing page that has the district improvement plan. So you can see, ooh, where did it go? Okay. You'll see there are buttons on the right-hand side that give you all of the information. So our direction is the landing page that it's on. And that includes our vision, mission, core values. There, you'll see goals and performance measures. So if you click on that button, it will pull up our key performance indicators for you. And those are also in Simbly in the strategic plan as well. So if you scroll down just a little bit, we won't go through all of them, but you'll see what our 5-year targets are. If you could go back to the Industar tab. And then under that, you have a summary report that you can pull up if you click on that. And so the summary report tells you about our team that is reviewing the plan. If you scroll down a bit. Keep going. Keep going. And then it gives you a bit about the meetings that we've held and the number of indicators. So this is just an overview of the plan itself. And then if you go back to the Industar page, the comprehensive plan report. So that's the one that has all of the action steps and everything in it from every department. And if you scroll down, you'll see this is a pretty long document. It starts out with the goals and then has all of the domains and our present level, where we currently are, where we will be when we fully meet that indicator, and then what each department is doing to work towards that goal that we have. If you go back to the tab. And then at the very top, there's an orange button that says choose a school. So when you click on that, a drop-down menu comes up and you can view any school in the district's improvement plan. And so this is where all of our school improvement plans are housed. And so the superintendent is recommending approval of the district and school improvement plans as presented. Are there any questions?
So this is a generic log on and password.
Yes, sir. And it will give you the public side of the plan. So the public can see all of the action steps, the dates that we're using to complete those, or that we've targeted to complete those action steps, as well as the individual who is working on monitoring that. And it's the same report that you've been getting in the past. It's just that it's live. So the way that the Industar platform works is it's not one thing is put in and we don't look at it again until the end of the year when we're monitoring our progress. So every month we log in and we look at these and figure out where we are with them. And then we can either adjust them or add additional action steps as we go throughout the year. So it's something that we are continuously looking at as a district, and the schools use that same process as well.
So if there's issues, we have ample time to do corrective actions.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a comment. I've been on the board for a long time, and this is the most impressive exhibit of our improvement plans I've seen, because it does make it public. And I think it becomes truly a living document, which
Right.
we've been trying to accomplish that for years. So I
Thank
think
you.
it's awesome.
Yes, ma'am. That's all right. Okay, it is guest D2595, and it's in Simbly as well. And if you go to the website where the URL is to get to that, it's listed under that as well. But the username and the password are the same thing.
So Ms. Ford, also, if you were saying have the agenda for today, if you click on that 2021 district school plan, it'll show right there.
Right, correct.
Awesome.
Any additional questions?
How much was it?
That's free. So that it's a platform that the Department of Public Instruction actually requires that we use. And we've been using it forever. We just haven't used this public side of things. So, or shared it.
I think this is one of the process that we were driving for Assembly to do beta control, but this data starts doing the same thing.
Right. It does. Yeah. So this is for approval. We do need the school and district improvement plans approved.
First, I need a motion to accept it and present it to the full board.
So moved.
Second.
It's been probably moved in second. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposition? Ayes carry.
Thank you.
Looks like that's all I have for our group. So, Mr. Chair, I'll pass along to the next person.
This time I'd like to call the Academic Services and Accountability Committee to order. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Motion by Ms. Washington to approve the minutes. Second. Rhonda Bullock,
Here.
would you like to second that motion?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Second.
Ms. Bullock, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carried. District CNA update, Dr. Lori Moore.
Good evening, Chairman Lamb, Superintendent Ellis, board members. I'm Lori Morrow, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about the District Comprehensive Needs Assessment and the additional support being provided to Nash County Public Schools. I'm serving as the district leadership coach and have had the opportunity to work with Dr. Ellis and his team and staff this summer and into the fall, learning about the district and unpacking areas that you are focusing on, looking at your strategic plan. I have most recently been visiting with your principals and learning about their schools, understanding what they're doing well and what kinds of additional support they might need, all in the name of improvement. And these services are provided to you under the CARES Act, under the low performing status, again, with the name of the game of moving forward and increasing student achievement. I am joined here tonight with Dr. Susan Silver, who is from the Department of Public Instruction. She's the Diagnostic Services Lead in the Division of Transformation. And she is going to take you through the comprehensive needs assessment process because her team will be leading this effort. So Dr. Silver.
Good evening, Chairman Lamb, Superintendent Ellis, all committee members and other board members, and certainly our stakeholders who are both online and joining us in person. And thank you, Dr. Morrow, for that introduction. Again, my name is Susan Silver, and I lead our diagnostic services team for the agency. And I'm going to give you a broad overview this evening of a partnership that we'll be entering into with your district, where we hope to provide support, as Dr. Morrow said, all in the vein of improving student achievement and supporting our students here in Nash County, which we are always very excited to do and hopeful for increasing outcomes for our students. I always have to give a caveat. I'm a product of Northeast North Carolina schools, and it is my passion to make sure that all students have the opportunities that I did. And so I'm a fearless advocate for our students and for our teachers who are supporting those students. So thank you for having me this evening. So we hope to provide some things for some key stakeholders, for you, the district, for our schools, and then for our stakeholders in general. So for you as a district, what we hope to provide is a clear picture of the quality of education that we're providing in schools. We certainly get performance data from students, but another piece of that is what happens in the day-to-day practice. So that's what we hope that the needs assessment can provide for you, that again can support your strategic planning, which you just saw your plan earlier. And it was just referenced that that is a living document, right? We're supposed to get inputs and then improve as we go along. So we hope that providing these diagnostic services will provide you with a more day-to-day data piece, data point of what's happening in a snapshot in time that can be used to drive that strategic plan. For schools, hope to provide an objective, clear view of strengths, areas for improvement, challenges, and successes. It is not uncommon for all organizations, whether they're educational organizations or private organizations, to have a third party to come in and do needs assessments from time to time, just to give a clear picture of where are we now and in this point of time and how can we move forward. And then our reports are designed so they can be shared with stakeholders as the district sees fit. So think of your community partners or parent partners to be a developmental tool for change and continuous improvement. I'll stress that a couple of times as I speak to you, that the purpose of the tool is for change and continuous improvement. So a little bit about what the comprehensive needs assessment, you'll hear it referred to as CNA several times. So that's our shorthand for comprehensive needs assessment. So a couple important things that I think people need to know as they enter into this partnership is that it is research-based. It's based on Lazat's correlates of effective schools, which has proven the test of time of what good practice is. It focuses on impact and outcomes. So schools do many things. As a district, you're engaged in many initiatives. What our purpose is in this assessment is to look at those things, talk with stakeholders, and figure out what is the impact those things are having. Because if we're doing something, but it's not being impactful on students or not having the amount of impact that we need it to do, then we need to adjust things and adjust our improvement plans, right? Not quite yet. He's trying to rush me along, so I keep it going. All right. So we do provide professional judgments on the quality of work in a school and a district, and that is triangulated with data. And I'm going to talk to you a little about what a visit looks like, so you'll know what I mean when I say that it's triangulated with data as we move forward. It is rubric-based. And very important, it's not a compliance visit. So you typically have audits in some of your areas. This is not that type of visit. So it's not about compliance. It's about how impactful is whatever it is we're doing in a district. It's not about doing it a certain way. It's about, is that thing impactful for students? And it is evidence driven. Now we can go to the next one. Yes. So I mentioned the rubrics. So these are the 6 areas that we look at. We have a school rubric and a district rubric, but they align with one another. So we're looking at the same areas, whether we're talking about the district assessment or school, and I'll talk more about that in a minute as well. So in the middle are 2 of our dimensions that we look at when we assess a school and a district, and that's under the umbrella of instructional excellence and alignment. We put it there in the middle because that's the heart of what we do in instruction, right? So part 1 is teaching and learning. And each one of those has subdimensions to it. And I'll just give an example here. For example, teaching and learning has 2 subdimensions, one of which is high expectations communicated to all, and the other one is alignment of curriculum and standards. Then we have support for student achievement. We look at leadership capacity, professional capacity, planning and operational effectiveness, and family and community engagement. And we look at all those pieces. We don't pull one out. I don't have a conversation with Dr. Ellis who says, well, can you just look at this area? We look at them all because what school improvement research tells us is that if something's off with one piece, it's typically an indication of those areas as well. Okay. So we hope to engage in a district-wide process with Nash County, and we're excited. This is actually launching tomorrow in some of your schools. And what it means when we do a district-wide needs assessment, that means that there's a commitment to, we recognize that schools are all part of a system and that sometimes there are systemic issues that we need to step back and address. So in order to do that, that means not just addressing some schools or a pocket of schools, but we've made a commitment that we are going to do school visits with all schools in your district. And what that entails is each school participating in a comprehensive needs assessment. That includes the principals getting an orientation so they know exactly what it's going to look like, and then a 2-day site visit. And that site visit includes a meeting with administrators, meetings with students, parents, teachers. We observe a collaborative meeting, and then other stakeholders that the principal identifies as important. And what's important here is the way we learn about what's happening in a school over a period of time is by talking to the people who are there every day. And then they give us the evidences that help us determine how impactful is what we are doing here day to day. And if in these 2 days, if these are the experiences of students, and that's repeated over a period of the whole school year, are students going to learn enough to make up gaps or to master the standards that have been put before them, okay? At the end of that 2-day visit, the principal receives immediate feedback at the end of day 2 with bulleted list of things the school does well and areas for improvement. And then that's followed up by a more extensive report that provides those evidences that we talked about to support that. The goal of that report being, again, to support school improvement. After we get done assessing all the schools, and we'll be with you all for quite a while about the remainder of this semester we've set aside to be with you all. The superintendent and the principal get a copy of those reports. That is as far as we share it, because remember, this isn't evaluative in that it's not another marker that's sent to the state board or sent somewhere. It is for your use, for your internal driving of improvement. So that's as far as we share it. And then Dr. Ellis determines who he wants to share it with from there, or in collaboration with the principal where they'd like for it to be shared. But all those reports are sent to Dr. Ellis. And then we take all the school reports and we do what we call a synthesis of data report. We will say, here's how we looked at all your schools. Here are trends we saw in terms of things they do well and areas for improvement. And then here are some implications of those findings. Then once we have that, then we move into the district visit. And this is where you all get to come on board, okay? So the district visit, again, we're looking at those same dimensions. And what that entails is talking with the superintendent, having conversations with them, with district staff. Also, there'll be a focus group of board members. Obviously, you can't all be in that focus group because of meeting laws, but there'll be a sample size of board members so that you can have input into what you feel is happening in the district. And then we also are going to meet with a focus group of principals, focus group of teachers, and a focus group of parents, all of which are determined by Dr. Ellis. And then the superintendent receives that same feedback. Here are things the district is doing well. Here are areas for improvement, and then he'll also receive that report, okay? Then we've implemented follow-up support. So schools receive this feedback, and what we want to do is support them in how they can use it, because school leaders are very busy, and sometimes they just need some support in processing through that information. So that's what we hope to provide. So the most immediate support happens the very week after the visit. So we meet virtually with the school administrative team, and we walk them through, here are your areas for improvement and the things you do well. How does that line up with your current school improvement plan and NC STAR? And where can we immediately start looking at some action tasks that you might want to take on or that you might want to revise? Because at that point, we're turning it back to say, you're the folks closest to the work. How can we support you in problem solving through whatever the identified issues are? We also later on, after they get their report, provide an unpacking training, which is a 2-day training we do with the school improvement team, again, to support them in how do we use this data to drive our school improvement planning. We also have a position that we call a diagnostic liaison support person. That is one person who will be dedicated to your schools, who will check in with principals. Right now, we're looking at quarterly, but if principals need more, they can, where they just take out the areas for improvement and the things they do well and say, where are we with these? How can I support you in moving those forward? And of course, you have your district leadership coach through Dr. Morrow. So that's the overall overview of the plan that we have for moving forward. And then this is our timeline. So we're engaging in the school CNAs starting this week, and those will occur October through January because I have a staff of 5. So we're running 3 one week to another week, 3 one week to another week. So it'll take that amount of time to work through those. And then in January through February, we'll finish up to provide the summary of findings. And then we hope to engage in the district CNA in February. And I did fail to mention one thing about the district CNA as well. We also attend a board meeting just for the purpose of observing, so we can see interactions between how the board operates and between the superintendent and the board. And there is a full rubric that's available that Dr. Ellis can provide as we move forward, as we certainly want to take a deeper dive into that as we move forward. And at this time, I will entertain any questions that anyone might have.
Mr. Sharp?
Thank you for that presentation. My first question is, you said you would go through all of our schools,
Yes, sir.
pre-K right up to high school.
If pre-K is a part of those elementary schools, yes.
So that's inclusive, Dr. Ellis, I'm assuming, with all of our schools, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and you got a timeline from October to January,
Yes, sir.
and you feel that's enough time to go through, you know, how the number of schools we got?
Mhm.
The amount of time you're looking at spending at each school, and the comprehensive diagnostic, you talking about the liaison support, you got one individual who come back to support all of our schools?
Mhm.
Okay.
So we've already mapped that out in terms of the schedule. So remember, it's 2 one week, then 3, and we've mapped that out, and that takes us until January to get those done. In terms of the diagnostic liaison support, that will fill out as we go along as principals come on board. So they're not all coming on board at once. So that person's able to touch base with the principals to say, where are you? And to have those conversations with them. So it ends up being a scaffolded coming on board of all of the principals.
So you say you start that program tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
What schools that will be included?
Oh, gosh, you caught me off guard. Melissa, Dr. Dancy Smith, I'm gonna call on you.
Tomorrow, they will visit Spring Hope Elementary and Edwards Middle.
Thank you.
And they'll be there for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday.
So we have an individual person that's going to the same school. So they'll be going from Spring Hope, over to Edwards.
I think it's 2 teams, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Sure, I'll speak to that. And I did not mention that. So the teams are made up of 4 team members. 1 team member is a dedicated, what we call an instructional review coach who works for me. The other 3 are trained reviewers from throughout the agency. So that there's 1 team of 4 going to one school, another team of 4 going to another, and they stay there during those whole 2 days and do those things I talked about. So meeting with the principal, the focus groups, and then providing that feedback.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Ms. Bullock?
Dr. Mara, I would like to say thank you for your report and thank you, Dr. Ellis and Ms. Nancy Smith for the work that you all are proposing. And I look forward to seeing what your findings are and how we can continue to move forward.
Thank you for that. Yes, the goal is to support improvement for sure. Thank you.
And we've had comprehensive needs assessments before in certain schools. So it's just never district-wide. So I think this will be a good set of eyes to look at us from a different viewpoint so we can then share. And, we're talking about IndoStar and basically a live school improvement plan. This is what creates that data to begin driving better schools. So I appreciate you doing this because it is a big task and we asked the same questions you did, Mr. Sharp. But they said they can do it. We look forward to moving forward.
And this is the recommended approach. So we do have districts say, just come in and do these schools that are on certain lists. And we can do that, but it's really impactful when you can take a look across the whole district because some issues are just systemic. We've got to figure out a systemic approach to that for sure, particularly when they've been persistent and stubborn issues.
I really like the idea that it's all instead of just a certain targeted school. That's something new. That I think is going to be a plus for everybody. Thank you.
So have we engaged in this? I'm assuming you did this in other counties and other districts. Can you share with us the experience as far as maybe a favorable experience as well as one that maybe didn't turn out so favorable?
Well, feedback can be hard to hear. So what I would share favorable is that when districts engage in this, it's always a partnership. It's rarely me coming in and saying, you have to do this. We manage to form a collaborative spirit so that folks are willing to enter into that. And what happens when it goes really well is that we're able to line up those supports so that something is done with the information. Because it's one thing to have this information, but now what do we do with that? So many of those follow-up supports are lessons learned where we've learned if we want something to be done with this and we want it to be a true value add, then we need to support folks in doing that. So that's a new piece that we are implementing to make sure we really leverage this process. Because that's a lot of time and commitment from you as a district, from your schools who are welcoming a team of 4 into their schools for 2 days. I was a school administrator. I don't care how nice and how big my smile is, your shoulders are still up, right? Because it's still an assessment. So we said, how can we leverage when people have given us this gift of time and their openness? And people are very open when we do needs assessments. So we added those supports. So that I think is when we really see success. Now, when it doesn't go as well, that is when there's a reluctance to address the issues in the room, when there's a reluctance when something's been put out there, but there's reluctance to address it. What we are able to do is provide a voice for things that people kind of talk about in the corner. And then it's able to come forward and it's not this one person saying that. Right? Is here findings from a team who doesn't know all these micro issues, right? But they saw this issue. So it helps bring things to the forefront so it can be confronted and then addressed and confronted in a non-confrontational way, if that makes sense. Because you can go back to the evidence. It's not personal anymore. Here's the triangulated evidence that was collected during that visit.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you all so much.
Cognitive Engagement Review, Melissa Dancy Smith.
Good evening, Chairman Lamb, Superintendent Ellis, virtual and in-person committee members. I stand before you this evening to talk to you about the Cognia Engagement Review. Every 5 years, institutions like ours invite Cognia, and if you've been around for a while, you probably know it as Advanced Ed, into classrooms across organizations to examine best teaching practices in an effort to become an accredited institution. Based on rigorous research-based standards and evidence-based criteria, the Cognia external engagement process assesses every aspect of the institution, from policies to learning conditions for students, to determine how well these parts work together to meet the needs of every learner. The process helps the district meet improvement goals and sustain commitments to improve student outcomes. The engagement team members are trained teams of educators and administrators from districts like ours. In fact, many of our previous and existing central office staff have served on such teams across the state and across the nation. The district's review is scheduled for February 27th through March the 2nd. It is a 4-day virtual visit. A schedule will be shared with board members closer to the time of the visit. This schedule will include a preliminary summary of our visit, which is normally the last day of the engagement review. The fiscal implication for this engagement review is $4,200. It is aligned to strategic priorities 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The superintendent recommends this report is accepted for information only.
Any questions? Thank you. Solution fee contract, Yolanda Wiggins.
Good afternoon, Chairman Lamb, Dr. Ellis, and the school board members. I am here this afternoon to present a contract proposal with the company Solution Tree to provide personalized coaching to our principals on the effective ways to implement PLCs throughout the district. The contract is in assembly for you to review. The proposal is for $111,860. This aligns with our academics and accountability goal to strengthen PLCs. So our professional learning communities are where our teachers gather together to discuss and analyze student data and to improve instruction. It's often led by teachers, but also by our instructional coaches, our MTSS facilitators, our principals, and our assistant principals. And so this training is specifically for them to give them foundational skills to be able to effectively lead these PLCs. So our PLCs are the avenue for a majority of our professional learning, our collaborative planning, and our data analysis. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we're doing with this particular proposal is shoring up and streamlining our PLCs. So this particular proposal is going to be for our principals. So the service is going to be that the principals are going to get one-on-one virtual coaching. And so they'll have 10 sessions. 5 of those sessions will be group sessions. So they'll be grouped together with other fellow principals. And then 5 will be individual sessions so that they will be able to talk with the coach about any particular barriers that are preventing them from being able to have effective PLCs. So they align with our strategic priority goals. Priority 1, which is increasing grade level proficiency. Priority 2, which is increasing the number of schools that exceed growth. Priority 3, ensuring our equitable outcomes for all of our subgroups. And then priority 4, which is equitably staff and build capacity. And the recommendation The superintendent recommends that the approval for this proposal to partner with Solution Tree.
Any questions from Ms. Williams?
Ms. Wiggins, have we partnered with them in the past?
Yes, sir, we have. As a matter of fact, we just recently, I believe it was at the last board meeting, Mrs. Janet Morris presented a proposal with Solution Tree that's specifically with Rocky Mount Middle.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Solution Tree contract.
So moved.
Rhonda Bullock makes the motion. LaShonda Washington, second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
CCP, CITI, ECHS, MOU with Nash Community College. Mr. Thompson.
Michigan Mouse. Good job.
Good evening, Chairman Lamb, Dr. Ellis, and board members. So tonight, I am presenting the MOU with Nash Community College. In order to build a seamless communication plan and programs with Nash Community College, we have created this memorandum of understanding that will help develop our CCP, which is our Career and College Promise program, early college, high school, and our Center for Industry, Technology, and Innovation High School, City High School. This MOU will be reviewed yearly for updates and changes. So tonight, the superintendent requests approval for the MOU with Nash Community College.
Any questions for Mr. Thompson? I will entertain a motion to approve the MOU with Nash Community College. Motion by Ms. Washington, second by Mr. Silver. I'm sorry, Mr. Silver. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise. Thank you. Field trips, Mr. Thompson.
So tonight, we have one overnight and out of state field trip for the board to approve. That is found there in your packet in assembly.
We'll entertain a motion to approve the field trip.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Bullock, second by Ms. Washington. All in favor, say aye. Yes, Ms. Bullock.
Ms. Bullock, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Thank you. My concern is that with the COVID metrics going up, I wonder if it's a wise thing for us to approve out-of-state trips for this time. We don't know what the metrics are. I don't think we know what the metrics are for Virginia. I think that's where they're going. And I don't think we need to allow our students out of state right now until we know more about the variants that are popping up and where these different places are with their metrics.
Any other concerns? Again, I will entertain a motion to approve the field trip as presented. Huh?
That's one I make that motion.
We got a motion.
Already got a motion.
Okay, we got a motion, got a second. I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye. All opposed likewise. Motion carried. No other business to attend to this time. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Ms. Washington to adjourn. I have a second. Second by Mr. S. Bullock. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. This time we'll go right into
Work session. You're going in the other room.
right. I'd like to call the Nash Board of Education work session to order. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp to adopt the
Second.
agenda, second by Ms. Chavis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried. This time I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I make the motion that we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143 through 318.11, A1, A3, and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files under GS 115C 3 through 321 to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee, to prevent the disclosure of confidential student records under GS 115C through 402, and to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Motion by Ms. Chavis. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed likewise, motion carried. We will go to closed session.